Welcome back, 7th grade coders, to today's explainer. We're jumping right into one of the absolute most powerful concepts in computer programming today, and that is how Python holds and communicates values. We're literally going to transform our understanding of Python from a simple, everyday calculator into a dynamic, memory-holding machine. So, let's dive right in.
Right off the bat, I really want you to think about this. How does a computer actually remember a number? You know, when you punch numbers into a regular calculator, it spits out the answer and then, well, it immediately forgets what you were just doing. But to write real programs, our computer needs to hold on to that information and communicate it back to us later. So, how exactly does Python achieve this kind of magic?
Here's our roadmap for today's application task. We'll start with Python variables, the claim, move to evidence, Python as a calculator, look at the reasoning behind how assignment works, check out rules and misconceptions, do a quick your-turn retrieval check, and wrap it all up with the big takeaway. Section 1. Python variables, the claim. Okay, so according to the official Python documentation, an assignment statement binds a target name to a single resulting object or value. Think of a variable kind of like a labeled target. You literally stick a label, a name, right onto a piece of data. And by doing this, you're explicitly commanding Python to hold on to that data and communicate it back whenever you call out that specific name. Seriously, this single action is exactly what makes Python such an incredibly powerful tool.
Section 2. Evidence. Python as calculator. This actually perfectly mirrors a calculation you might do in your math or geometry class, but with computer memory involved. Take a look at step 1. Width equals 20. We assign the value 20 to the target name width. Then in step 2, height equals 5 times 9. Python calculates that math behind the scenes, gets 45, and assigns it to height. Now, notice that no result is actually displayed yet. Python is just quietly holding these values in its memory. Finally, in step 3, we simply type width times height. Python communicates the values it was holding, multiplies them together, and boom, outputs 900.
Section 3. Reasoning. How assignment works. All right, so the absolutely crucial point here is understanding the semantics, the actual meaning of the assignment statement. The Python documentation clearly states that when Python reads a line of code with an equal sign, it doesn't just read from left to right all at once like we read a book. Instead, it evaluates the expression on the right-hand side first, before any assignment takes place. So if your right side is 5 times 9, Python completely solves that to become 45. Only after the right side is a single resulting value does Python bind it to the target name over on the left side. It's always right side first, then bind to the left.
Section 4. Rules and common misconceptions.
Now, when you pick a target name, you really can't just type whatever you want. Professional Python programmers follow a strict style guide, and it's called PEP 8. The official guidance here is to use lowercase letters with words separated by underscores as necessary to improve readability. So rather than just squishing words together like tax price all as one word, you would write tax underscore underscore price. Getting used to this builds excellent professional coding habits right from the start.
But hey, what happens if you break the rules of time and memory? Well, if you open Python right now, just type the letter N and hit enter, Python is literally going to panic. It throws a traceback, resulting in a name error saying name N is not defined. And why is that? Because you absolutely cannot ask Python to communicate a variable that hasn't been defined and assigned a value yet. It has to hold a value before it can communicate it. Make sense?
Section 5. Your turn. Retrieval check.
Okay, let's look at a real mathematical scenario pulled straight out of the official Python documentation. Step 1. Tax equals 12.5 divided by 100. Step 2. Price equals 100.50. Step 3, what is the output of price times tax? I want you to mentally walk through those assignment steps we just talked about. Evaluate the right, bind to the left. Take a second, pause the explainer right here if you need to, and see if you can figure out exactly what Python will calculate.
All right, and the answer is 12.5625. Fantastic job if you work that out. So what happened? Python solved the tax variable first, right? Turning 12.5 divided by 100 into 0.125. Then it bound 100.50 to the price variable. Both of these are floating point numbers, which just means they have decimal parts. When you finally asked for price times tax, Python communicated those two held values, multiplied them, and generated your final output.
Section 6. The big lesson takeaway.
If you remember only one single thing from this whole explainer, please let it be this. Variables evaluate the right side first, bind it to a name, and hold that value to communicate it to future operations.
This simple but honestly profound mechanic is exactly what turns Python from a basic little desktop calculator into a fully reusable, powerful programming environment. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you have the power to hold and communicate values, what kind of data are you going to store in your variables next? Whether it's complex text strings, huge lists of numbers, or, I don't know, calculations for a video game, you now have the fundamental memory tools to make it happen. So keep experimenting, keep coding, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.